Hello everyone. I'm going to talk about hazardous materials and safety instruction. This simply means that how to handle hazardous materials like chemicals and which are toxic, how you can store them, right? In this topic, there are various steps and procedures which government have put in place for the safety of the worker and the safety for bystander and the environment. There's various measures they put on place to follow the handling procedures and the safety instruction. Number one, the first thing we need to know, we need to fully comply with the hazmat handling, storage, and safety requirements. What are the full compliance with these hazmat handling procedures? This simply means that most chemicals that they are toxic, they are being stored in a confined area wherein only unauthorized people that have access to these rooms or this storage facility. And there are so many mechanisms they put in place, like PPE equipment they're supposed to use when entering that room for their own safety, because it can be toxic. And some of these chemicals, they have the SD sheets. What is the SDS? The SDS, these are numbers that shows the amount of toxic, that shows that this material, this chemical that is toxic. So that is for number one. Number two, make sure that any hazardous materials contains are safe in a good working condition. Yeah. So this simply means that this, like some crude oil, other chemicals, they need to store in a secured areas. And how they are stored in a secured areas? Maybe if these chemicals they can be ignited through heat, they have to be in a cold temperature areas, right? If you know that with cold it can affect the chemical, you need to put them in a hot place, right? So these are so many measures they put in place. Then number three, we talk about staff must be trained on how to wear the hazmat protective cloth, or how to use this safety equipment. Like when you are working in a store where there's a chemical, or you are a storekeeper where there's a chemical, so you have to make sure that you follow the full PPE requirement, that is personal protective equipment, right? So that simply means that if he knows that he's supposed to put masks, you have to put on the masks, the gloves, and also your coveralls, right? So those are basic things. They have this, they call it SCBA. This is self-contained breathing apparatus mask. You need to put it on when you are working in a store also, if you know that these chemicals are toxic, right? Because toxic, it simply means poison. It can either affect the nerve system, right? Pathogens. There are various types of toxic chemicals, right? Then number four, you have to make sure that hazmat protective cloths are put on during the working time. So if you are working in a chemical area, you have to make sure that you put on your coverall and the full gears that you're supposed to put on. Because, for instance, if anything happens to you, there is laws which govern you. Because if they find out that you don't put on the proper PPE on, then eventually something happens, then you might not be covered by insurance, because before insurance do anything, they have to find out what's lead to the death. Are you protected? You use the proper PPE equipment or not? So there are so many mechanisms. So that's why it's good if someone is working in a stores, or you are going for patrol, you go to check a store, you have to make sure that you follow the procedures, right? Then number five, staffs or any contractor must be trained on emergency handling procedure during an hazmat or fire or leakage, right? This simply means that we have a process. Like if there is an H2S is hydrogen sulfate, right? This is a chemical. When a chemical leak, so it will affect people. So whenever there is a leakage of chemical, you find out that there is leakage of chemical, make sure that immediately you smell that that egg smell, there are certain smell that it produces. You have to block your nose and find a way where you can get the marks immediately, right? Not trying to go and see what is going on. Is it leakage? Try to smell. Immediately you inhale, it can affect the body. So any staffs that or any contractors that are going to this room where there's a chemical, you have to be trained and understand what's the procedures before entering. That's why they put a sign that only authorized people that are required to enter that room, right? Then number 6, official or supervisors, right, in a facility should be informed workers or staff about the impact and the risks or the degree of hazmat in handling this doing this work. So this simply means that if you are a supervisor or you are a team leader, right, you understand, okay, there is a chemical, supply of chemical. You have to make your team to aware of the dangers of these chemicals, or to aware about the good thing about this chemical and how they can store them. You have to give them the information that this item is being stored in this area, this item is being stored in area, so be careful what you do, be careful this area. So you have to train all staffs, or the posterior staff should be aware that this separate room is for chemicals, or this separate room is for these items. So that information is very important. So that's why as a leader you don't need to keep information. You have to open up information. This means that you have to inform people who are part of your team or who are responsible to that particular project, right? Because we have something we call that intellectual property or trade secret. You have to keep your trade secret for confidential reason. So that means an extra people should not know what is going on inside your own department, right? But if it can affect another people, you have to inform them that you have to stay away from these certain locations, right? So number 7, do not carry or touch or smell or taste any hazardous materials without taking precautions measure. So like I rightly said before, if you saw any leakage or any smell in the room, don't try to force for you to know what kind of smell is coming there. Immediately you have to evacuate or get yourself contained breathing apparatus mask before you can enter, or you can ring the manual call point. You call people for people to evacuate that building, right? So then you're talking about number 8, worker must be subjected to periodical medical checkup record, because of this substance. So when you are working in the labs or a chemical place, right, you have to be subjected to medical checkup, because sometimes it affects the lungs, right? Because when you breathe in the toxic, right? So you breathe in the toxic. So it depends on which kind of chemical they are using in that particular area, right? So that's why it's good most time for using a mask, and also to get a more of alkaline water where you can be drink that can help you to revive your lungs, right? Then also, if you know that this area is toxic, you have to use masks to prevent yourself. You have to use the self-breathing apparatus to protect yourself. When you are going where there's a chemical, you have to also try to get a small mask or that proper equipment, PPE that is required for that particular room, right? Then number 9, eating or drinking or smoking are strictly prohibited in that hazardous materials, place or site. So in certain areas where there's a chemicals, right, it's prohibited to eat there or to smoke. What is the reason behind that one? It's because of that, when you're eating in an area where there's a chemical, you have some particles that are in the ear, right? So it can absorb, right? It can absorb by your food, and also you eat that food, the food become contaminated, right? So in the ears, there are a lot of particles which are film in the ear. So you have to be careful. Then also drinking also can throw water in the floor, so people can assume whether it's a chemical, and maybe people think that this is a water, then they go and smell it, it's not a water. It can affect also the body. Then also smoking in an area where there's chemical is very hazardous. Why is that is hazardous? It's because there are certain chemical, it ignites fire. Let's say if it's in the ear, if it's in the ear, already in the ear comprises of oxygen and hydrogen, right? So carbon dioxide, we give us carbon dioxide. So sometimes it's immediately you light the cigarette, it can ignite fire. So that's why it's highly prohibited to smoke where there is a chemical or where they are storing chemical, because that area is toxic, or even if it's not toxic, it's full of gas, right? Then number 10, in case of any accident, make sure an official or the supervisor or management be informed to take necessary actions, right? This simply means that whenever there is incident or accident, right? Because incident or accident it's inevitable. It can occur at any time, right? So, but that's why we put so many mechanism process wherein people will follow that plan, like H2S response, how to respond to H2S, chemical, how to respond to chemical, spillage, how to deal with spillage, then how you can use the self-contained breathing apparatus, right? So in case of there is any situation arise, you have to after this incident, or you have to inform to your supervisor, your management, you have to inform in a written form or a typing form. You have to inform them that this is the situation, this is the incident that occurred. So this one will serve as an record for in case anything want to happen like that, they will put mechanism in place, right? They will look what is the cause of this situation, so they were able to have a background record that at this particular year we have this incident. So these are the mechanisms, these are the measures that we're supposed to put in place. So I've already deliberated on how to handle hazardous materials and the safety instruction. So that's why various governments, they put mechanism in place that people should follow the safe handling of hazardous materials, because it can affect you and affect your neighbor or people that is closer to you, right? Because it's toxic. It's sometimes hard to reverse that one, because immediately affects your lungs or your livers. It can lead to death, or it can lead to paralysis or other medical conditions. So the first thing is self-defense. Self-defense means that you have to protect yourself first and protect your co-workers. So it's like a teamwork. So that's why in case you observe anything that's happened, you are patrolling, you are checking, or as a staff you see anything that's happened or any smell, you have to alert people that there's a smell, for people not to go in that particular place, so that they can inform the emergency response teams, right? And emergency response teams, they are the ones who will be there to condemn or to contain that particular incident, to contain that particular chemical that is being exposed to people, right? So I will stop here, and any question you have, you will kindly send your question. Thank you very much.